Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk, episode 33. So that means we've done this for 66 weeks.
Wow.
Pretty serious. Serious dedication there. Pat on the back to everybody here.
Time for a career change.
Well, you have Block Talk too, so you can always quit at any time and just Block Talk it up, Alex.
This is like, like the side gig. I'm moonlighting.
Yeah, right. This is like your dream job after your day job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we got a great show in store for everyone tonight. Once again, my name is William Kale, co-founder of Coinigy.com. Along with me from Coinagy, I have Roberto Bordano.
Hello.
Otherwise known as Rob Borden, also from Coinagy. AKA, along with me from Coinagy, I have Roberto. Oh, now I'm hearing echoes
Whoa.
here. Okay.
Tone it down over there.
Easy, guys, easy. So, I'm assuming that was Alex Sterk, I think, because he went mute right away, and he might not be listening right now.
I just clicked on the link, so I think I'm.
It was Brian then. Well, anyways, I'll give Brian an intro. So this is Brian Beamish from therationalinvestor.co. How you doing this evening?
Good evening. Good evening. Hello.
What's going on, man? Are you bathing in your Scrooge McDuck money vault full of steam yet?
For Steem, no. The tweet I put out yesterday was I'm steamed that my bids didn't get filled on Steem. I was so choked. But anyway, can't own them all, right?
No, but you gotta catch them all, as all the neighborhood kids are doing, as I speak.
That was one hell of a rally. In fact, I put out my tweet was like, "How many doubles is this? Holy goodness!" And of course, all the guys in the Rational Investor site, they're like, "Oh, that was 5 doubles, Brian. It was 5 doubles." I'm like, "Thanks."
Yeah, I've been seeing a whole hell of a lot of tweets of banging out doubles hashtags and stuff. So.
Oh, man. 17 since the end of June. 17
crazy.
doubles. And that's last week or two, I guess last show or even the past couple shows. Did any of us expect this altcoin market just to explode like this?
Not really. I mean, I was told alts are dead, so.
Yeah. Well, that's the sign, of course, that they're alive and kicking and are ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, I got to intro Alex as well. Alex Sterk from Block Talk. How you doing?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. I'm rolling in Steem, but it's all locked to my Steemit account. So yeah. I don't know. I might have to power it down. It was a great interview actually last Friday that I did with them.
Full disclosure, Alex, are you part of the management of that site?
No, but yeah, like, well, once you sign up for it, everyone's a manager of it, right? Because what happens is you get Steem in your account, and then you get like voting power based on that Steem. So then you become a manager. So I'm becoming one of the bigger guys because I put like a post like the Coinagy show today, or Block Talk. And, yeah, I've done 2 Block Talk shows with it on. They've both done very well. So yeah.
And it's funny, in your message earlier today, you were like, please be kind to Brian. He's not very good on the internet. That was hilarious. I put a post on there, and I thought I actually, it was a good like half an hour tutorial on how to use volume profile. And I got like 6 cents in tips, and I'm like, what did I do wrong here? You put that post up there earlier today, and I saw you're at like $50-$60 now, and it's like, wow.
Well, I think what Alex is doing differently is he makes the post and then he spams all of his Slack channels.
Oh.
No. I didn't spam the Coinagy one anywhere though, and now it's at like $200. So I think what it is.
Is that how high it is now?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll split it 3 ways. I promise you guys.
Good.
Maybe we can do a Steem giveaway on one of these shows or something.
Yeah, it sounds good. But yeah, I think the key to it is you gotta put effort into it. They want to see that you're actually doing something. You had that video already made up, Brian. You probably have sold it to a couple of guys. You know what you should have done?
I literally did it the day that person, because I mean, we don't need to spend all the time on this Steem site, but somebody just went on and said, Brian, can you explain volume profile? And I literally hopped on YouTube and I just said, all right, let's go for it. See what the hell I produced. So maybe it was just a really crappy video. I don't know.
Well, maybe we can send some viewers your way. So Steemit.com. Look up, what's your username? The Rational Investor?
It's BBMIT.
I think I just put my personal name.
Yeah.
Look up BBMIT.
Hey, I'm not looking for a sympathy vote. It's just kind of funny how I'm so 20th century. I mean, it's like kicking and dragging and screaming, trying to get me into the 21st century here, right? And Alex is just doing loops around me.
No, I know how to play the game. Let's put it that way. But what you should do, Brian, if you want to be successful on Steemit, you do a weekly TA on Steem. Like you just do a video specifically for Steem and say in the first one, introduce yourself, and then you'll be rolling in the Steem.
Yeah. It was an interesting, fun little experiment. Let's leave it at that. But anyway.
Right on.
So congratulations on this Steemit, if you are a part of this, Alex, because it looks like you're off to the races here.
I think it's just a Block Talk was a really good fit for it. Like I never really liked posting my show on Reddit, which is basically the old version of it's Steemit plus crypto, or Reddit plus crypto equals Steemit. So like I never liked posting my show to Reddit because it was terrible. Like our Bitcoin, they always like flagged my posts as like they didn't like it. So now people vote with Steem Power, and then I get paid for it. So like I'm all over this. I'll totally be posting all the time on it.
How about I do the videos and you post them for me?
There you go.
As you said, you've got the magic touch. You know how to work this thing.
Well, speaking of the magic touch, Brian, maybe you should give us a little TA on some Bitcoin, unless we got some Coinigy updates you guys want to cover.
Yeah, I have just a couple things to kind of talk over. I have a little list here, just so any Coinigy users that are watching. So one really cool and exciting thing that we finally got around to implementing is our API documentation is now live. So there's no more of this, Word doc to PDF stuff that was on our GitHub. We're using API now, so you can actually view and actually test the API calls directly, basically, to our production server through API. So if you want to access that, all you have to do is, I think it's, let me get the URL. Actually, no, it's just coinigy.com/API-documentation, and then you'll be sent right to API. And it looks like we lost Alex there. Hopefully he gets back on. In addition to that, we did implement Ethereum wallet tracking as well as the DAO wallet tracking, and what's the other one? I think Maker, and then one of the other DAOs on Ethereum, so you can actually attach your addresses. We're kind of having issues though with HD wallets. That's kind of something that we're trying to figure out a solution for. I don't know if it's even possible to really track balances over time with HD wallets because the address changes whenever a new transaction occurs. So keep that in mind. But if you have kind of a single Ethereum wallet that you want to track your balances on, you can attach that. We also upgraded the charting library recently, which fixed a whole heck of a lot of bugs. And then we have a new option where you can actually choose which version of the charting library you'd like to use. Just in case there's any issues with the new version, you can always revert back to the old version, and that's available under your settings. And added Dubai coin wallet tracking, and then we added did some pretty major overhaul to our Bitstamp and GDAX backend processes just to make trading a lot more reliable. So yeah, that's about it for us. I'm curious to hear what Brian's post-halving BTC thoughts are. I think our last show was pre-halving, right?
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it was.
Yep.
Before we move on, I thought it was so funny. I've literally been in this sort of crypto community now for since I guess what year is it? I guess we'll call it 3 years. And have you guys ever seen this guy this video?
No. Wait, here I'm
I'm
gonna.
sure you have.
Yeah, I love this
It's so
guy.
funny. He's a Spanish guy and he laughs just like hilariously, right? And
Yeah,
what,
I've seen that video, not the DAO version.
okay, so what I was just gonna say was that I thought it was hilarious. This video has been recycled again, and somebody's gone and made it up with Ethereum and the hard fork and all that. And I just find it hilarious that just about once a year this video keeps resurfacing, and it's whatever the local the scandal du jour is, and somebody goes and types up the subtitles over this video. So it's really funny. So it just goes to show where Ethereum has got to in this whole DAO hard fork stuff. I just heard you guys mentioning DAO a few minutes ago. I thought that was hilarious. So if you get a chance to watch that video, it's funny the write-up that they did. And
You should tweet that out, Brian. We'll retweet it under Coinagy.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to do it immediately, but we can.
Hey, Jonathan, if you're watching this, tweet that out to me if you could. So anyway.
There we go.
And then before we move on, just viewers who don't know what we were talking about with Steem, this was the Steem chart here, and this is the breakout that I was talking about, and I had actually tweeted out yesterday when this thing popped. I was just like, how many doubles is this? So you guys could see just from the chart, this is what this thing did. Beautiful. Can you? And now all you guys, we've been working together long enough. You can understand why I would be interested in this thing down here, right?
Oh yeah.
And what's interesting is it even popped up through the double bottom breakout here. It gave you a couple days to get in, nice and quietly. So that's the interesting thing about this is if somebody ever tells you, oh no, you can't use DA because all the pros they get in on the breakouts, and the small guy never has a chance to get in. Well, here's a great example where the W was confirmed. And the price just sat there for a few days. You had more than ample opportunity to get in. So I thought that was just an interesting observation. And of course, this is the, and now we look. This is why, guys, we are involved in crypto. This is why I am not involved in the penny stock market that much right now. I'm all over crypto. Because I can tell you, into the dot-com boom, there were penny stocks that were doing this almost on a daily basis. But now the stock market, if anything, I'm telling people, you know what? There are better places to have your money working. And this is why we're interested in crypto, right? There's literally fortunes made here overnight. So it's incredible to watch this stuff in action.
I wonder if the day of the breakout was when that one girl made her $1,200 on the post.
Yeah, that was the same day I had Steemit on Block Talk. Which daily candle is the 9th? Because I had them on the night of the 8th.
All right, so that's right there, just the day before.
Yeah, we'll call it the Block Talk effect.
Yeah, of course. Alex gave it his blessing, right? The magic touch. Touch my uncle, right?
It was a good interview. They really they sold the product well. Like I had some non-crypto friends on the show, and we had a bit of a party. And it's a very good product, and it's great for noobs to crypto. I think that's going to bring a lot of people into Bitcoin, and it's a really good advertising tool for crypto in general.
Yeah. So, long and short of it here, hats off to anybody who was able to ride this. And, my strategy. I would want you to be taking some profits on the way up here. So all of my people, if you did trade this, for heaven's sakes, I better hear that you booked some good profits. All right, so we want to talk a little Bitcoin. Now, the question ultimately, as always, is what market do we want to look at?
I don't know, probably Stamp or GDAX.
I noticed that Stamp's got some funny candle action here. So I don't think this is correct, is it?
Ooh, I don't know. We'll have to take a look at that. Maybe we got some kind of errant data in there.
So that's why I was kind of curious. And then, of course, Bitfinex has got this gap up top here, right? That was where they sort of just gave a big FU to all their customers.
Yeah, they had an issue.
Sure, we'll call it an issue. Sure, okay. Really, the way I see it, and we saw quite the similar story out of Litecoin last year. If we throw on a vertical line to the halving date was, I guess, here, right? We saw the same thing. Litecoin went just nuts, so crazy, and then topped before the halving event, and things sort of calmed down after the halving event. Litecoin did have to work its way a little bit lower after its halving event. I see a lot of similarities here, though, but because of this gap, you know, there's a little bit of, you know, maybe a little bit of funny business going on here. You know, harmonically speaking, I think that we definitely have the potential of this nasty bear AB equals CD floating out here, which paints a downside target down in this area. And then if we do things like if we take a fib off of this post U.S. Marshal's Office auction last November, we see that that represents actually a fairly respectable area for price to work its way down into, right? This is our reload zone. And I think we can make the argument, you know, do you guys remember? I remember we were talking about this for quite some time, and I remember putting tweets and stuff out basically saying, you know, follow this little range, and whichever way it breaks, that's probably going to be the trend of the trade. And of course, we broke out through the top here, and woohoo, right? What a coincidence! All of these technical criteria, you know, reload zone, bearish harmonics, a couple other things like volume profile, historic highs, right? There is that U.S. Marshal Office auction high. I think we can make a pretty good argument for price to work its way back down into here. What I've actually been suggesting to people is if you're a Bitcoin bull, I think you would actually prefer that the market just work its way down into here, get this technically cleaned up, you know, come back to good old mountain man level, put in a nice W, and let's continue this bull party. What I'm a little bit worried about here is we might be forming a harmonic, and I'm not totally convinced on whether it's going to be a bat or a Gartley, but I do see the potential for you know, harmonic sort of price action. You know, really this should be a 78.6, so maybe somewhere up in that area there. And if we do have to rally up here, and notice too that if we do come up into here, that's going to fill in this gap. I can absolutely guarantee you, dollars to donuts, that if, for example, this is Phoenix we're looking at, there are a lot of people that are caught long up here. And you guys, you've heard me say this 100 times before. You know that there's a guy who bought Bitcoins up here, and he spent the money that his family was going to spend on summer vacation, and he's just praying to God, just please, please, please just bring the price back up here. Please, 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 please. I'll sell this damn thing. I'll never buy it again. You know that there are guys that are trapped up here, and especially with the way Phoenix pulled this fast one on people. So I'm a bit worried, and also if we look at volume profile, there's a couple of reasons up here on profile why we could justify price stalling up here. I'm a bit worried that if we do work our way up through these highs and fill this gap in and then fail, this might be setting up a really nasty harmonic. And of course, you guys all remember, I'm sure very well, that we had a really nasty harmonic set up through the summer of 2014. Right? You guys remember this very well, I'm sure.
Somewhat.
Oops. What did I do here? This was actually when I started the RationalInvestor.co's education program. Great time to start a business in Bitcoin, eh? Right at a harmonic failure, and of course, look at what happened the other side, right? So I'm a bit worried that, and if anything, What I want to hear from you guys is reasons why I shouldn't be worried. But I'm a bit worried technically that we just had a big rally, very much like this event. And if we put in this kind of harmonic pattern, it actually portends to a nasty bear going forward. So I'm a little concerned. So if anything, like I said just a moment ago, I would prefer that we just dump straight into Mountain Man, clean up all this, and set the stage for the next bull. I'm worried that if we rally up into this harmonic and then we fail, we're actually setting up the next bear market, and that would suck.
The only reason I can think of is that obviously the block reward is now cut in half. So that might...
See, now what I'm worried about with regard to that is that you notice that 2015, and you know, when I was working as a commodities broker, we used to basically, the adage is, how do you find a bottom in an asset's price, a commodities price? It is the cost of production. And I think that 2015, that's exactly what they did for Bitcoin, was they basically figured out what the cost of production was. And
Did you just freehand that, Brian?
Yeah, it's all right.
Good job. Perfectly traced the lines there. Sorry.
Well, no, because it has the magnet on here, right?
Oh, I gotcha.
You know, here, this is more Brian, right?
Yeah, I was going to say,
right?
wow.
But the point here is that for countries that have their electricity subsidized, if I'm not mistaken, the cost to mine Bitcoins is about $150. For those countries that don't have electricity subsidized, the cost is around $300. I could be off on those numbers, and I do understand that, you know, we know Moore's law. So theoretically, the processing speed of these processors should be getting exponentially faster, which should reduce that cost to mine Bitcoins. Now, I think that when they built the algorithm, Satoshi built his Bitcoin idea, I think he sort of took that Moore's law into account, and that's why they created the halving event. So if we use this $150 to $300 as sort of our cost basis for Bitcoin, and let's say, heaven forbid, the commodities actually go into a bit of a trough here, imagine that, maybe Bitcoin has to come down to the post-halving equivalent. So what would that be? That would be a floor of $300 to a ceiling of $600, which would basically be $300 would be down here, right? Somewhere down in that area. And let's maybe make this yellow. And $600 would be into there. So there's our new sort of value proposition for the cost of production of this commodity. Could we spend the next year or so sort of cleaning ourselves up and going through this process? Sure. I mean, the market can do any old damn thing it wants. I guess what I'm just worried about is, you know, not so much that Bitcoin's going off the board. This was a very natural, healthy bear market. Markets go through bull and bear cycles. We just, can you guys see symmetrically? This was a bear, and this was the bull. Well, that is almost exactly equal in size. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Really, there's no reason why we couldn't go through exactly the same symmetrical pattern on the other side. Right? No reason why we can't do that at all. I don't know whether we come all the way down to here, but I could easily see us swim in this area for, you know, 6, 8, 12 months. That wouldn't surprise us, or me. And as well, you know, if we look at any of our altcoins, I mean, we all know our darling Ethereum. Wow, he sure is in trouble these days. These coins, they go up, they go down. I don't think that Bitcoin is necessarily insulated versus any other, crypto. I do think that for lack of a better term, the zealots, I know there's probably a better way to say this, the enthusiasts, if we will, there's no way it's going to be a bear. But, you know, what I would simply say is, you know, one of the first technical tools I was ever taught about Bitcoin, technical analysis tools in the commodities business way back in the 1980s when Bitcoin was just a twinkle in Mr. Satoshi's eyes, was the 50% rule. And the 50% rule is just one of these, it's attributed to W.D. Gann, and it's just one of these time-tested principles then markets often like to retrace 50% of their previous move. And we just did that.
So they find equilibrium, Brian. Is that kind of what that whole like why it's 50%? Like they whiplash one way, they whiplash the other, and then they settle right in the middle.
Well, we'd need Mr. Gann here himself to explain the subtleties of why the 50% rule works. I mean, all I know is that you can literally set your watch to it. It's kind of ridiculous how consistent it is. If we had done a 50% level off of this range, I think that correction there was 50%. You see that? See how that happened?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. It's just one of these time-tested principles. And so, and I personally think, remember we just went through all that analysis, reload zones, horizontal support and resistance. If we look at the actual volume profile of Bitcoin, we see that most of the street is long from about $400 or $500 a coin. So, really on balance, is it realistic for us to at least revisit these highs? Absolutely. Right, I'm hearing bings, so I have a feeling that means that I have to wind things up. So on balance, over the short term, I am a bit conflicted. Do we have this AB equals CD and we just do a clean cut and clean this up and resume the bull? Or do we go harmonic here and this becomes a long, drawn-out bear into like the end of the year and beginning of next year?
I'm going to cross my fingers for a nice clean cut.
I would prefer that, but sometimes when you rip the Band-Aid off really quickly, sometimes it hurts in the short term, right?
Remember what I was saying, I think it was 2 shows ago, Brian. Like I think we're gonna head to nearly 1,000 or like 800, 900, and then it's gonna be, oh man, you gotta buy Bitcoin. That's what the public's gonna think. It's gonna be breaking 1,000 soon, and then we're just gonna retrace back down almost half in value, and then we'll probably settle for a bit, and then coming into the fall, when September, October, November is when you usually see market pullbacks, like the traditional market, and then we also have an election where if it's anything like the Brexit vote was, it's probably not going to be good for the American economy.
Well, I guess the question really is, like, we just had a big fundamental driver, right? And hopefully the audience sees fundamental driver, fundamental driver. So the question is, what is the fundamental driver going forward? And that's what I really want to ask you guys. What fundamental reason do we have for them to take price higher from here? I remember some people are talking about there is some sort of new version or new program or something that's in the works.
New miners are probably coming out. Let me share my screen here and maybe crank up my quality, because I got a difficulty chart here that's kind of interesting. You guys see that? So it seems like we made some highs back in the middle of May or early June, and then we've been making lower lows in hash rate, or lower highs in hash rate. So we're almost kind of forming a triangle in hash rate here. Kind of interesting, I guess. I mean, even if you look at, like, right here, we have the rally to $500. I don't know. Hash rate is definitely something to be watching, and if these new miners that are coming out, they can definitely price a lot of people out, and maybe that's what we're going to see is, all these new miners come out. They're now producing Bitcoin, and their cost of production is maybe like $300, where current miners needed $300 Bitcoin when we had 25 Bitcoin blocks. So I think if we settle in a trough, like you need to force all these old miners out of the market. You need to basically squeeze them of the of their loss of profits or their operating costs.
Yeah, and the halving is only helping that, I guess, unfortunately.
Well, it's not like it's
or fortunately. Well,
like,
right, yeah, it's not like people didn't know it was coming.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about is a fundamental event that we can use as a catalyst for price to move into. right? What I know that Andropoulos, Antonopoulos guy, he was talking about there's some sort of change to Bitcoin coming up here, and I thought you guys
Oh,
were aware of that.
he's probably still talking about like segregated witness or
Yeah, that might be it. That segregated witness.
the Lightning Network. That's really what it comes down to. Where right now we have to pay probably I think like 5 cents in fees for Bitcoin, which is like getting pretty high. Like that's not microtransaction levels. Like I'm not going to send $1 to someone if I got to pay 5 cents. Um, so once you have the Lightning Network, now you can buy Bitcoin, buy coffee with Bitcoin because one, it's faster, like you're not waiting for confirmations, and two, it's like the cost is next to nothing. So the Lightning Network is a big part of it, and I think also with segregated witness, it also allows applications to be built on it. So we've all heard of Augur.
Yeah.
Like there's a
Prediction
Bitcoin,
markets.
yeah, prediction markets. There's a Bitcoin equivalent of that, which is running on a testnet right now because it can't run on the main net. It's the same with Rootstock, which is a competitor to Ethereum. So maybe that launches with a fork for segregated witness. So these are all like
Do you have a timeline on those events?
we're still waiting for bigger blocks, so I couldn't tell you when it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's just kind of all these, technical limitations, really, in terms of Bitcoin.
And how is the Bitcoin civil war going?
There's still a lot of propaganda going out, that's for sure.
Because that really didn't help the bull story. So what I'm kind of asking from you guys is, what is the fundamental driver that's going to take price up to that $1,000, Alex? Now, I did notice, and actually, I'm glad that I remembered this because I have to make a correction from last week, or last show that we did. We talked briefly about that Winklevoss ETF coming out, and I was all excited because I thought they were listing on the NYSE. It turns out they're not. They're actually going to list on the BATS exchange, which is even worse, in my opinion. But there is another ETF that is coming out, and those holdings theoretically are 100% insured, and they are listing on the NYSE. So I don't know whether you guys follow my tweets. Anybody watching?
Yeah, I didn't see it from your tweet, but I did see that mentioned. Do you know who's behind that?
I'm
By chance?
not.
I mean, are there any
totally
big names behind it, or is it?
Got it somewhere in all this mess.
Yeah, I just caught the headline. So
I think the peak of both of these last.
I'm not quite sure why that looks like that, but anyway, this was the tweet that I put out. So, Solid X, you know them? Solid X, does that sound familiar?
does not. You know what? I think I've come across that at some point. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Blockchain startup Solid X files to become first Bitcoin exchange traded fund on NYSE. So I was a little disappointed in those Winklevosses. They kind of pulled a cheeky one going bats. That's stupid. I don't know why they did that. But that's almost like a cheap route. Whoever gets to the NYSE first and gets option eligible, that's the one I'm going to be interested in. All these, it's funny. It's almost like with these crypto exchanges where they all sort of dance around joining the big boys, but nobody will take that step to really become fully legitimate. And I'm noticing with these ETFs, one goes and lists on the NASDAQ lower board. Why on earth are you doing that? And then the Winklevoss go and they're going to list on BATS. Someone step up to the plate and list on on an exchange that's reputable, please.
Do you think it's maybe because they're just trying to test the waters and work out the kinks?
Maybe.
Or something? I don't know.
And I do, these guys, they made the case that the actual ETF is going to be insured. So I'm wondering, theoretically that GBTC was, their holdings are theoretically insured. But I'm just glad that we're finally seeing talk about people being listed on the big board. Let's see how this goes.
Well, maybe we can draw some parallels between the economics and the technicals, where like the developers don't want to push out a change in Bitcoin too willy-nilly because they don't want to be the ones to break Bitcoin. Well, maybe it's the same thing. No one wants to be the first exchange on the NASDAQ or the NYC to be the ones that give everyone the option to short Bitcoin and then break it
could
down.
be. I mean, it's like right now, I would love to have a whack of Bitcoin puts on the books. I would love that, but I can't. It drives me nuts. In fact, I did a Google search for Bitcoin put options, and I found this funny little exchange that and the bids and offers, the spread is just ridiculous. But anyway, I'm sort of playing around with them. So I've got open shorts on.
What's the
open
exchange, Brian?
I'd have to go find it. I can't remember.
Oh, don't worry about it then. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'll have that for you the next time.
It looks like this Solid X is going to be on NYSE Arca.
All right, so that's the Archipelago Exchange. So
Yeah.
that's another offshoot. Anyway, Brian's not going to get his wish list right away, but at some point we will get these things listed on
Oh,
Steem
yeah.
exchanges, and we will get options. And then it's going to make my life, because we are long a whack of Bitcoins here. I would love to be able to just go buy a put and have my downside protected, but I have to run open short positions on OKCoin futures. That's the only way I can do it right now. Anyway, all right. Did we talk that into the ground? I don't know.
I think we're good. Let's get to that crazy wheel, hey?
Yeah.
Okay, so Alex, spin away, and I think I had tweeted out. I told the audience, I am very Bitcoin rich right now, so I want ideas to put money into. One of my students and I, we were looking at this one. I'm already long this one, but there's a couple names out there that I'm really interested in. So I'm a shopper. Give me something juicy to munch on here.
Well, we landed on NAUT, so I don't know if you better or not, or you should not, but let's check out NAUT.
NOT.
That was a great pun, Alex.
It's really not.
Oh, man.
So that's NOT.
NAUT.
Oh, NAUT. Oh, Nautilus coin. So this one's treated as well. I think I got another double off on this thing. Oh, yeah. Like, this is a great story of what we do, right? So, and you guys could probably go back in the archive and find the episode when I told everybody that we bought this thing last year. And we were banging out doubles. And if anything, this is a fantastic testament to actually what we just did in the Level 1 education program, liquidity events. Does anybody know what caused this one-day rally here?
Not off the top of my head. Anybody in the chat?
Anyway, it was a rumor that they were going to be profiled on CNBC.
Oh, right. I remember you mentioned that.
This is a great testament to how just being mentioned on a major media outlet can cause these little altcoins to go nuts. And the irony of it all is literally that within 5 minutes of the news article, the thing started to crater. So a great example of buy the rumor, sell the news. I suppose there is like an archive where all these shows are, right, Will and Rob? So I think I have the link somewhere on my site.
Yeah, we want to try to find somebody out there that wants to go through and listen to every show and then catalog what currencies were talked about and the timestamps. So if anybody's down to do that,
any volunteers out there?
Might need to put a
an email. Yeah, maybe we can put like some Steem up for grabs.
Yeah.
There you
Good idea.
No, but that would be really cool. We could then kind of at least have a list somewhere to reference back,
Yeah. So, NAUT, we actually went and bought back our full position. Everything that we sold on the way up here, we went and bought it all back down here. And, of course, we've been banging out more doubles on the way up here. I think I've got 2 doubles off just on this rally here. So this coin's been really friendly to us. Very much like the IOC guys, the last show we talked about. These guys that are running this coin, these guys are pros. This guy, he knows how to play this game, just like the IOC boys. And I wouldn't take a bet against this guy. He's a really, really smart operator. And it wouldn't surprise me how really 6 months ago we weren't talking about this at all, were we? Right?
No. Which, by the way, a couple of those guys had some issues with the smooth operator, I think. comment last time. Or
Oh,
was that
you
2
mean
shows ago?
the IOC guys? Yeah, I know they
Mhm.
weren't very happy with that. I apologize. But you know, and
Brian
Will,
meant it in an endearing way.
yeah, Will came to my rescue and said, "Hey, it's your opinion," and that's what this show is all about. So, thank you, Will. But long and short of it here is, it doesn't surprise me. This thing had a big face rip rally. Technically speaking, right, we define a bull market as making higher highs and higher lows. And we all can see this thing's making higher highs. I find it interesting that this sort of reason du jour that it's rallying is Brexit now, whereas the reason it was rallying here was Grexit. I don't know what the driver is here, whether they're going to be maybe, are they still kicking around the idea of being used as a currency in the Greek Isles? Does anybody remember?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I think he's talking with, I don't know if it's Coinbase or, oh no, Airbitz. He's talking with Airbitz, probably looking to buy like their mobile wallet off them and then have it be the mobile wallet for Nautilus coin, because the Airbitz wallet's pretty good. Like you got, your directory kind of helps you find all the businesses that accept it. It's interesting that you mentioned the whole CNBC thing, Brian, because I asked Brian Kelly during his AMA 4 months ago before he went dark and we had that slump. Are we ever going to hear about NAUT on CNBC, or are you not allowed to talk about it? And he just kind of roundabout way said, oh yeah, it's not really allowed. I can't kind of do that. Even Bitcoin's hard to talk about. So it's kind of funny that just the rumor of that was enough to like cause that skyrocket, and that's probably why I asked him about it back then.
Yeah. Very simply put, can we even think about buying this asset here?
Well, it's not a nice head and shoulders there. Isn't that something you always want to buy?
If anything, we just talked about how the beautiful W on your Steem, right? And hopefully everybody in the audience can see this beautiful W down in here. And it's interesting how they did that off of they tried to W it here, right? And they just couldn't get it. And then finally the W came in down here. So, if anything, guys, here, and I'll even center it for you. Anybody who's watching this video, print off this screen and just put a big arrow. This is what we want to look for when we're thinking about buying. When we're up here, we're too late. We're just too late to the party. And if anything, what you need to do is just let this thing calm down. I suppose we can start entertaining the idea of rebuying this name, when we get at or below our reload zone. But you can see that's well down into here. And really that kind of corresponds, our line in the sand. I could very easily see some play against these highs, right? But really probably this is a key low to watch for. And then, of course, the original double bottom breakout. Could this market move higher? Sure, Danny, market can do any old damn thing it wants. The problem here is if you do buy at this level, this is your realistic risk window, and that's an awfully big window. Really, to justify risking your hard-earned money in the market, I think it's a good idea to just sort of ask yourself, can I get a 2-to-1 risk reward on a setup if I'm right? And so 2-to-1 means that I have to realistically be able to see this 0.0018 as a justifiable target. And frankly, I don't know whether that's really realistic aspiration.
Has that been hit in the past?
No, we're nowhere,
Oh, wow, yeah.
Right? So really, I can't, I mean, me personally, there's no way I can buy this. And I would, we're not really in the business of giving, specific recommendations here. I just simply say that, no, I could not buy this here. And if anything, I have to wait for it to get down into this area. And then just like you see right here, let's start seeing some sort of signs of W's before we go risking our hard-earned money.
And there's plenty of other W's out there. So.
Oh yeah, I mean you don't have to be in love with this coin. If anything, I would say the money's been made. Right? If it, beyond free coins and just saying, wherever the wind takes us, it takes us.
So I'm just spinning the wheel here. Let's see what we land on. Oh, it's a
How are
bit
we doing on time? Was that good time?
Oh, that was just over 5 minutes, but not too bad.
Okay, good.
Ooh.
So we're on Ethereum. Okay.
Oh, ETH. Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, as I had pointed out at the beginning of today's conversation, when I start seeing those little comments, that internet interview with that guy, that Spanish guy, that stuff kind of makes me laugh. This is really interesting because, of course, full disclosure, I'm long Ethereum off of down here. So, and I will always be long Ethereum, always. The question ultimately becomes, and I remember in the spring, it was a real debate. Do we chase this name up into here? And really, the long and short of it, kind of like the Nautilus, right? If it's banging around sort of in this neighborhood, are you too late to the party? And clearly we can see that if you had entertained the idea of buying this up here, it would have been a real pain in the butt. I suppose one could argue we could draw things like reload zones. And we can see good old mountain man level. This happens a lot in the market, is off of this 61.8 fib. We often see some action, and you can see that the market is desperately trying to hold on to this level here. I suppose, if you are a trader, this really isn't a bad area to try and take a shot if you have some sort of, bullish setup in here. It'd be interesting to see if there's any sort of divergences or anything. What do we got here?
Well, what might be an interesting chart to look at, Brian, is Ethereum versus the U.S. dollar.
Right. In fact, we might see this come down just simply, or this go up simply because Bitcoin's coming off here, right?
Yeah.
What's Bitcoin doing right now? Is it coming off?
At this very moment.
Well, what's causing this Ethereum rally? Because Ethereum's trying to pop up here. You see that?
Yeah. Well, I think we're having a slight dip. I don't know. The only
Let's take a look at it in U.S. dollars. And what exchange do we want to look at here? Isn't it Kraken or something like that?
Yeah, Kraken will probably be best. Either that or Finex. But Finex has a margin on USD.
Well, so, relative to U.S. dollars on Kraken, right, you can actually see this is an hourly chart. Can you guys see the W here? Well, you can see it, and actually we do have this W here, right? So, and, margin traders, it's interesting that we were talking about margin trading, right? We could draw a range off of there. I don't know whether that's the low or not. Oh, we're a little bit off there. So, good old reload zone. Let's see what we got here. Good old Mountain Man. There's Mountain Man again. Brandon. Geez, Brandon is owning crypto lately. I don't know whether you guys have noticed this, but Brandon is just all over Bitcoin. So a great example of a professional floor trader is just going to buy that 61.8 tag there, right? See that? That's high anxiety, tough trading. But if you can do it and you have the self-discipline, it can be very, very rewarding. Something's causing a rally here. I don't know. Can you see this volume? Somebody's coming in on the buy side here on Ethereum. I guess the question is, are they getting closer to this hard fork? I heard that it's like the 16th is supposed to be the big date.
So wait, I haven't been in the loop. Is this actually going down?
It looks like it's going up right now.
No, I mean, is it happening? Are they actually going to be doing some kind of a hard fork, or is it like a soft fork? Alex, you're on mute.
You're muted, Alex. I don't know whether you're aware of that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have a little bit of background noise here. But yeah, no. Last I heard, they were kind of polling, I think, for hard fork consensus, just to get an idea of if they should even attempt it or not. Results are looking pretty good that they're going to hard fork. I mean, like, Vitalik and his cronies all have a pretty good connection, I think, with the mining population. So I think it's within everyone's best interest to fork. So that's probably what we're going to end up doing.
You know, I mean, just simply technical wise, right? Again, Alex, you know, in the school, and I don't know whether Will remembers this. I don't know whether we got to it or not with you. But we often counsel people to use the 50% level as a profit objective if you're going to take like a margin or day trade or something. So, you know, really, I can see the trade metric setting itself up here. Basically,
Hey, not to cut you off, Brian, but one thing I wanted to mention, Crypto Gambler in our chat said basically there's a big rumor that Ethereum is going to be added to Coinbase. So in terms of like being able to have an Ethereum wallet on Coinbase.
Okay.
So that's kind of why it's shooting up.
Okay, so, you know, the trade, technically speaking, can you guys see that if you just simply bought this W and you used the 50% level, and that's just simply this high back down to this low as your target, that spits up a 2.76 risk-reward ratio. That's not bad. You know, so for traders, that's not a bad shot. And can you appreciate that you don't even have to see half of these setups work for you to be a profitable trader at the end of the day if you have greater than 2-to-1 risk-reward. So, you know, actually traders, you know, for our trader people in the community, actually I see a little trade actually happening as we speak. If you wanted to try and, you know, don't chase the market because we're up here now, take your little fib tool for wherever this tops out, and really we don't know where it'll top out, but let's assume that this is the high. Then we can take our little fib tool, and if you want to try and sneak in on this trade and see if you can get in on some sort of pullback bar, can you see how the reload zone is going to be nothing more than just a test of this original bottoming zone? And what a coincidence, look at that, there's actually a nice juicy gap right there, right? So, you know, if we do sort of run out of steam just in the short term here and we start to pull back, you know, the traders in the community really watch down in this area for your long entry, risking against this tail low, right? Oh, interesting too. Can you see this gap right up top here? So we're probably, my hunch is we're probably going to try and rally up into that gap there, and use that as sort of some sort of pivot to try and gauge where to start stalking your long entry. You know, I suppose probably a really good thing would be let the price come down, try and hunt some sort of candle pattern to get in off of the reversal here. All right, so trader, actually this is kind of interesting. We were talking about this before we started recording. How would we appeal to sort of the trader part of our community versus the investor part? So this kind of commentary is totally trader talk. This kind of commentary, looking at this entire range, looking at the reload zone, looking at things like Willie being stupid off of the higher time frame, this would be more investor talk. And here's the problem I have with Ethereum right now. Can you guys see how we have this major M in the market here?
Huge M.
Right, and unfortunately this M was confirmed when price briefly traded down below that level. You can see how they're fighting like a dog to try and hold this level in here. But me as an investor, I would be very concerned. Now remember, we said our 50% level would be sort of a bounce up into here. We could very easily get that, right? But I'm concerned that this huge market structure is now in this coin, and that's a bit bothersome. And I suppose, you know, because this structure has been confirmed, we can actually start drawing trend lines off of these peaks, and, you know, thinking about our guy who's sitting in the doghouse who bought on the DAO listing date. Do you guys remember that? This was a beautiful little M top right up in there. It was a perfect Gann angle tag. He's just praying to God that price gets back up into this area so that he can get his money back and get out of the doghouse, right?
The dog house.
No pun intended. So hopefully you guys can see the difference in perspective. Traders, I could very easily see a nice little tradable bounce here. Investors, there are problems here. I really don't like what I see with this massive double top confirmed here. Right, that's my 2 cents there. And remember, full disclosure, guys, I'm long off at the bottom here, right?
Oh, you're a pump and dumper, Brian. You're totally trying to scam everyone right now.
I would have no interest in buying this name up here. I just couldn't.
All right. Let me get my wheel back up here.
I hope this is helping. Is this? What do you think? Do you think that?
Yeah, this is really interesting.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, screen share.
And I have the best of hope. I hope these guys. I hope the price just launches higher.
Yeah, I hope they come off of this hard fork really well. So I know Bearcoin was another big one that did a hard fork to kind of reverse a transaction. I interviewed Doug on Tuesday. If you guys want to check it out, Bearcoin chat. But you know, in the long run, they'll probably be all right. But yeah, hopefully short term they do well.
All right.
We're having trouble seeing your screen, Alex. By the way.
Are you?
Yeah, it's just black.
Let me try.
Icon.
Let me try sharing one more time. Sorry. You see
There
that?
we go. Yep, we're good.
So I spun it and it landed on DGB, and I don't think anyone would be too hard pressed to not cover DGB because we get requested, I think, every week.
Pretty much.
What's
Yeah. Digibyte? You like this one, Brian?
People love this. What is it about this name? People absolutely love this coin.
Yeah, I think it's just a fun trade. It's really kind of, it's got a really good market maker. Let's put it that way. The guy, whoever is running the chart, paints it like Michelangelo. He's a professional for sure.
Well, you see what the supply is, and that's the big problem I have with this thing, right? And that's what I've said week after week after week. I don't mind the location, and I think hopefully my message basically has been the same for you guys. That you know, trade location-wise, you know, if you can handle 6 billion coins out, you know, I suppose this is, you know, that you're not buying into a pump. The fluff has been taken out of the story. I'm not really seeing anything here momentum-wise to get me too excited. And, you know, it was really interesting to watch that Doge take off when it did. And I sure hope we get a chance to look at Mona because I'm really interested in that name. But when Doge took off, we saw volume come in strong on the buy side. You guys see any buying interest here at all?
Doesn't look like it by the volume. I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, I look at our OBV indicator, and this thing's threatening to put in an M top here, right? Up, down, up, fail. Uh-oh. So all you Digibyte lovers out there, call up your buddies and get them to step up and buy some. Because there are no buyers here. Where have all the buyers gone? So a little bit concerning in that regard. And as I said, momentum-wise, you know, you can see our good old Willy indicator. I don't see a hell of a lot to get too excited about here, and it sure looks to me like Willy could come back down into stupid area here. So we're not even in a zone where it's stupidly oversold yet. So yeah, I'm sorry guys, I just don't have a heck of a lot to be too bullish about here. The only thing I do like about this is potentially it's in a half decent trade location, but you know, market symmetry wise, can you guys see how we did this, and if we take that same I don't think I can do this, but if we just take that same symmetry and just do sort of the same thing on that side, can you see how it's almost exactly equal? Right? So what we really need to see is this thing flatline and start to make higher highs and higher lows, and then we can start getting bullish. Until that happens, I just don't have anything here. Sorry. We just made a new low here. We tried to make a little W. That failed. Just a big hurry up and do nothing. So,
all right. Well, yeah, if we're going to keep that one brief, let's maybe check out another coin here. Okay, you guys see my screen this time?
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, you see it? Okay, let's give her a real spin.
Sure would have liked this DG to get going.
Oh. GC.
What's EGC? I know nothing about it.
I think
EG.
it's Eggcoin.
Oh yeah, a bunch of our Sleep members have banged off a pile of doubles on this thing.
Okay.
In fact, I remember some people were asking me if we'd look at this. So actually, it's kind of fortunate that way. So unlike Digi, can you guys see how this thing's turning up? Right, we got moving average crosses. We've got momentum breaking out to new highs, and we actually have some buying interest here. Where the hell did the OBV indicator go? There we are. Oh, look at that. Nice OBV turn here. And everybody see this nice W in OBV here and how it's making higher highs? And does everybody see this big fat green bar here? All right, so basically we are confirming higher highs and higher lows. So unlike Digi, we actually have some buyers here. So that's encouraging. How many are out on this thing? Only 13 million. Now that's the kind of name I like. Right? That's the kind of number I like. You know, the great part about these venture cap is not only do they go beyond reload zones, sometimes they go all the way right back down to their original lows, and I kind of think that's basically what this guy did. Very typical of venture capital, nothing out of the ordinary here. You guys have heard me say wicks and tails like to be eaten. I often see on these altcoins, if it leaves a big fat tail like this, at some point it's going to want to get eaten. And can you see how they explored down into here, right? Nice test, right? Somebody panic dumped, and somebody, when they brought the market down and they ate up this, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a change of ownership or something on this coin right in through this area right here. Basically ate up all these tails, and then somebody came in and they were trying to drive it down, and somebody came in and said, no, 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 no. Finally, the market said, all right, fine, you don't want to go down? We'll go up. So great testament to just waiting for the market. And if we change this to like a line chart, hopefully you guys can really see. Can you see the WE type action down in here? This is the hallmark that you guys want to be watching for. We're right up against previous lows. That's that tail low. And nice clotheslines. And then all of a sudden, look at all the little W's that are starting to come in here. W after W after W after W. And basically, this is the sort of tell of a rejection of a test of a level. And, you know, please understand that the market simply wants to go to where it can do business. If it keeps getting pressed down and it can't do business, at some point, the market's going to say, fine, you don't want to go down anymore? Let's turn around and let's head up. And I think that's basically what's happened here. Bit of a, you know, I can't really chase this in here. I think buying off of these lows would have been brilliant. If you had waited for these W's to buy in, I think that would have been all right too. And, you know, if anything, you should be booking lots of profits in here. If you had taken this relatively conservatively, let's say we just bought an average off of here, that's 264. Is that what that number says? I can't see. I'm so old and blind.
204.
204. 204. So you guys can see this is like 1,200, 1,400. So how many doubles is that? That's like what, about 3 or 4 doubles at least. So you know, you certainly can't be going and chasing this here. What probably is going to happen is if we draw a reload zone off of this range to here, what do you think the odds are that the reload zone is going to be off of a test of these original lows in here?
Pretty good odds.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. So let's see. Yep, so we can see there's a good old line in the sand. There's Mountain Man off of these old highs. So, you know, if you did want to work stink bids, I don't have a problem working a stink bid down in here. And if we go off of, say, like a lower time frame chart, what do you think the odds are there's some gaps in here that need to be filled in?
Good odds.
Look at that. All right, can you see this big honking gap right in here? Right off of that line in the sand. Look at it. There's a big hole on the charts there. Everybody
Wow.
see that? Right, so there's the original W, down, up, down, then down, up, down, 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 then breakout, and it left a big hole on the charts. So, and gee whiz, there's our line in the sand, 78.6 fib right there, right? So if you're going to be working stink bids, that's probably the area you want to be working your stink bids. All right, next.
Cool. What's next? Next
Oh,
up to
sorry.
bat.
Just a correction. I called it egg coin. It's actually Evergreen coin.
That's a big difference.
I know we had some people make good money off of this. I don't know whether I was. I don't think I was ever in this thing. That didn't sound familiar.
All right, here, and see if I get screen share going. All right, you guys see that?
Yep.
All right, winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Oh, I never had any of this. Boo. Oh. Okay.
And the winner is Mona.
Oh, really? Isn't that
All Brian's wishes are coming true.
The gods of chance have blessed you, Brian.
Double D's, double D's, double D's. Everybody in school should have a chuckle when they heard me say that. I'm a big fan of double D's these days. But, you got to be in.
There's quite a few double D's on Steemit lately, I've noticed, too.
Is there? It was funny. I was looking at a coin today. I thought it was so funny. A student and I were looking at a coin, and we went to their website, and they had a feed of a whole bunch of chicks' pictures. And we were joking. We were saying, well, you know, that's going to get a whole bunch of teenage boys to buy the coin anyway.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you want the site to take off, got to get the double D's on there. Works every time.
Alex is being evicted.
Yep.
All right. So what was the next coin?
Mona.
Yeah. Okay. So Mona. I'm rooting for this one. I mean, I'll you know, full disclosure, I went and bought some off of the test of these lows, right? And hopefully you guys have you hear a reoccurring theme from us week after week after week. I suppose one could argue, you know, just even recently, this is basically the bottom end of the range down here, and this is the top end of the range here. So I'm willing to take a shot off of these levels every day of the week. I would love for this thing to turn, but we don't really have any solid, anecdotal evidence that it's ready to go just yet. If anything, sadly, this kind of looks similar to Digi, where you can kind of see the momentum is kind of waning here. And I don't see a lot of buyers stepping up here right now. In fact, the action looks fairly thin. So very similar to Digi, you know. Come on, guys. Let's get some buying interest. These guys got to do something to get the community interested in their story.
Refresh my memory. Is Mona the one that's kind of like the Japanese Dogecoin?
Yeah, I think, isn't Doge out of Japan as well? Or maybe not.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I seem to recall Alex saying that they have a tie with Japan somehow.
Oh, okay. Well, Mona's the one with the cat icon, right?
Yeah, the Hello
Yeah,
Kitty.
there we go. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, a nice number, you know, unlike the Digi, unlike the Doge with a gazillion coins out. I like this number. It's a nice friendly number. I suppose really what I think we're just waiting for is, can we please have some sort of fundamental catalyst to drive this thing? And, you know, trade location-wise, this is in a great spot. For this thing to turn, this is exactly where we want to be a buyer. The problem is, it just hasn't turned yet. Get going. I'm hearing bleeps and blurps. Is Alex?
No, I'm just checking on Alex. See how he's doing. He jumped off real quick. So.
Yeah, actually he disappeared too, didn't he? Yeah. So, you know, the way I look at Mona right now, I love the trade location. Went down, ate a big honking tail here. We're right near historical support. You know, I don't see any major panic dumping of volume. I don't really see a lot of buying volume either, but nonetheless, no real panic here. Really, this thing just needs a reason to get going. Just give it a reason, something. I would ideally love to see this come down here, go up here, come down here, and put in a nice W there. That would just be, ooh, the icing on the cake. But it hasn't happened yet. So, you know, the way I would look at this is little old ladies, if you want to do like nibble strategy, take a shot off of key lows, perfectly fine. Margin trade, balls to the walls, leverage up, this thing's going to the moon. It's still too early to call that. But great trade location. Just needs a little bit of oomph to start confirming some market structure, and I think it could easily be a runner. So everybody out there in the crypto community, just like we were looking at that Ethereum on the 1 hour chart, we saw the double bottom and price started to take off. This is a daily chart, much higher time frame. If we see this double bottom come in, unfortunately we got a little bit of a reversal there. So if we can get this market to close up nice and above there, we've got the W, and it'll be a W within a W, and I think this thing could rock and roll. But for the time being, we're just still waiting. Come on, Mona. Come on, baby. Turn! So, no screaming buy right now, but I sure love the trade location. Absolutely love this location.
Cool.
Just don't break my heart, Mona. Don't break my heart.
Let's see. I muted Alex because he came on his phone. It looks like he had an internet issue.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Yeah, you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I think the coffee shop shut off the Wi-Fi after they closed, which is different than yesterday. So. Whatever. Okay. Hopefully I don't use all my mobile data, but I can still show you guys the wheel. So you see that wheel?
Hey, tell us your spiel on Mona. But what's the story with Mona? Is there any sort of catalyst over the short term that's going to drive this thing?
I haven't read anything recently. I could probably look it up, but yeah, I don't have any internet at the moment.
I need the internet to do that.
Yeah, guys, I'm useless without the net, okay? I need my fix. I'm sorry.
You can't even catch any Pokemon out there without the internet.
Dude, last night when I was sitting out here, yeah, there's kids everywhere playing Pokemon, and it looks like they're the same kids are all roaming. I'm just waiting for a car to drive by again with the theme song playing. But I can still spin the wheel.
Alright, let's go to that wheel.
Alright, cool.
I hope we did Mona justice there, whoever asked for that in the audience. I love this name. To me, it looks like it's in an awesome trade location. We just needed to have a reason for this thing to go, and it's got the green light in my opinion.
I put Bob on, and I think I do have the website still pulled up.
Yeah, take a look at the site, man.
Dobbs Coin, the ticker is Bob, B-O-B.
Yeah.
Bob brings a new destiny for the abnormal. Bob comes to justify our sins, to unmask the conspiracy, and to come get us back the slack they stole away. Yeah, this site is like the 1990s all wrapped into one. It's great.
Well, I mean,
worthless on purpose. That's great.
This is a total.
That's worthless on purpose. That's a great saying.
It's worthless on purpose.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right, let's look at the chart. Let's see what they have.
All I can say is hats off to one of our students of our level 1 program this quarter. He snuck in on Bob down here at a couple hundred sats, and he banged off a pile of doubles off here. So I'm so proud of him, Michael. Basically applying the principles. You know, if anything, this is a great example where a guy previous to taking our course was going on Reddit and trying to get stories and ideas and trade ideas, surfing Reddit, and just losing tons of money. And then he takes our course, he learns some of our basic principles, and in this case all he did was just, look, there's somebody going by my window. All right. I don't know whether you guys can hear that or not.
Nope.
Anyway, all he did was just simply say, okay, well, what is a reload zone? And hopefully you guys can see that basically down in this area here, you could consider buying. You obviously can see the OBV broke out violently way back here. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Michael he saw this dump, he saw the little W, and he said, what the hell, I'll go and grab some. And the cool part about it is look how many coins there are out. Do you think I'm going to like a story with that many coins out?
Definitely.
Oh, thank you, Rob. Good. I haven't heard from you all night. Huh. All right. So Rob comes in and affirms that 4.55 million coins. I'm going to love that kind of story. And this is the reason why, because low coin count stories, you can get these nutso moves out of nowhere on like no news. And hey, we're here to make money from trading. I don't care. You know, I had some people that actually got upset at me that said, it's not nice of you, Brian, if you're going to place a buy order on the bid and you get filled, and then you're going to place a sell order on the offer and it's double your price and you're going to book a double on your trade. That's not fair. And I'm like, what the fuck do I care? If it's a double and I'm making money, I'm a happy camper. You know, here's a great example where he took a shot, little old lady style, didn't risk a hell of a lot of his portfolio, bought a name, and what's funny is there's another site member on our site, and when Michael said, oh, I bought some of this Bob, he was like, oh my God, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Well, if anything, here's a great testament that sometimes when these names are absolutely hated, sometimes that can actually translate into a huge opportunity. And when this thing popped, holy crap, did it ever pop, right?
Wow.
And this is, if anything, you know, like I think I told the audience earlier, I mean, I got like 17 doubles off since the end of June. I mean, this is nuts. The whole market just was like coiled up. Everybody was focused on Bitcoin. Bitcoin. And they totally took their eye off the ball, the rest of the market. And as soon as the Bitcoin fundamental news was done and there was no sort of catalyst for Bitcoin, all of these names just exploded higher. And fantastic. Hats off to you, Michael. Well done. Now, can we buy this name right now?
I think I'm going to buy it just for their website. Like, I love a coin that doesn't take itself too seriously, and this one is pretty funny.
That website
act like you aren't reading this. They may be watching.
Very simply put, if we're going to apply any sort of technical, merit to our decisions, let's at least wait for the reload zone, and as you can see from this blow off top way up here, gee whiz, look where we're heading down to, right? So we're now getting into an area that's at least a little bit more attractive risk reward wise. Can you see how all these old highs, right? They're probably going to start acting as what we call horizontal support and resistance. So really working stink bids down in this area. It's, you know, the problem here is, right, this is 475 ticks. We could easily come down to a couple hundred ticks. You'd probably have to go look at the order book. Let's pull up the order book on this thing. Is this on Bittrex? Yeah. So we're going to have to change hats here a little bit here, guys. Let's go Bob. All right, there's Bob. So we're going to go look at the order book here. Let's see if there's any notches in the order book to try and help us place our buy orders. All right, so looking at the bids, one handy tool that you can use is to hunt for notches in the profile of the order book. So do you see how this kind of 700 number sort of stands out? Doesn't that seem odd? There's a guy who wanted to buy 25,000 and then it goes all the way down to 700? And then 10,000, 31,000, right? Doesn't that seem a little bit odd? And there's that sort of 255 area. That's an area, if I was going to work an order, that's definitely an area that I would sort of focus in on. And if we go back and look at the price chart, right, that 255 area is right down in sort of this area. And what a coincidence. This is basically where Michael said that he bought originally. So if I was going to work a bid, I think I would work that bid down at that 255 area. So that's using sort of a bit of chart analysis and the order book to try and help you find a location to work your bids. And then you also notice that there was a bit of another notch on the order book down at 117. Do you see there's another funny 700 order? So, you know, I could easily see somewhere between this 117 and this 255 area, they somehow establish a floor in this. So maybe work half your order, Alex, up around this 255 area, your other half of the order down at this 117 area. And interesting to see at 90, that's not really a hell of a lot of distance between there, right? Maybe work another stink bid down there at, say, 91, 92. So that's using the order book to try and help you place orders as well.
I don't know. I just love this site so much. The stupider it looks, the more important it probably is.
All right. So you're just gonna go market buy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna market buy it. I don't care what happens if it gets delisted. This is too funny.
So you got, so, you know, now in the stock market, we used to really funny share certs. We used to get the actual share cert printed, and people used to give share certs away, like 1 share of Disney or something. It would be cool to get a coin certificate or something of ownership of this thing, eh?
All right. Yeah.
So anybody
guys...
interested in bids? 255. What did we say? 117, and then down around 90. I like those.
Right on.
All right.
Well, I think that did it justice.
All right.
I think so too.
Should we wrap it up, boys?
Hats off again to Michael. Great trade, buddy. Great application of course material. Very well done.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm up for wrapping.
Yeah,
so
Alex
lose all my...
he's ready to wrap, so.
I'm gonna get in my car and start driving home, guys.
Okay.
Aren't you driving a tractor or something like that?
No, it's in the shop, so.
I'm really interested in this AUR. Michael actually was the one who pointed out this AUR. Check out that chart. Interesting little turn. If it can get up through the middle here, it might actually have a nice little down.
Cool.
And then there's also another one, just in closing. I think it's BSTY or something. You guys ever heard of this thing before?
Alex is actually getting in his car.
Yeah.
Alex has left the building.
I figured Brian was just gonna rant for a bit, so I was like, okay, whatever, I'll listen.
There's another one Michael has. It's BTSY or BSTY or something like that. Maybe that's it. BSTY. Yeah, that one looks kind of interesting too. Look at that one down at the bottom of this range. There's a bunch of them, and also, I mean, I'm working a bunch of stink bids, but we never get into talking about what I'm thinking about buying.
Well, next show, let's do it.
All right, if you want, yeah, we can take a look at my buy list.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thanks for everyone that upvoted the Steemit post, and actually there's a really good comment in the chat about you know, cataloging all the shows and coins we've talked about. Will, maybe you guys should offer up a lifetime membership for anyone that does it. I think that'd be a really...
We'll have to talk about it, but we'll definitely figure out some form of adequate compensation, because that would be awesome to have.
I think so too, yeah.
So, yeah, on that note, I guess we can wrap it up since Alex is going to get in a car accident.
Hey, I'm not playing Pokemon Go. That's the people I'm looking out for right now.
Yeah. So we will say, oh yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers, so we're gonna throw a big party. Throw a big party when that happens. And then, if you guys want to find out some more information, as far as and learn some of the things that Brian is teaching, where could we find that?
RationalInvestor.co. We have a new term coming up in the fall. Actually, I'm really, you know, there's lots and lots of interest. So if you do want to get on the reservation list, by all means, get out to us. Pop on the site, send me a message, send me an email. Just let me know that you're interested. You know, 17 winners here just since the end of June. Obviously, we're doing something right. You can, you know, site subscribers basically can see exactly what we're doing in the market on a daily basis, including all of the blog post write-ups. Here we are. We started, you guys, and actually what's really cool, Will and Rob, is you guys probably remember when we started this portfolio up with 1.25 BTC. Here we are now. We're brushing the account. This is pure demonstration purposes only. We're now up to $3,950 US, so we're not doing too badly here.
Pretty damn legit, if I do say so myself.
We started with about $500, and we're up to the better part of about 4,000.
Especially with so many just alts that have crashed and burned in there too, that you're still able to turn such a large
Look at
profit
our
percentage-wise. Yeah.
Our rainbow's getting thicker and thicker and thicker. We're up to 109 now, I guess. And you can research all of the different holdings and all of the blog write-ups, every trade that we've done. In fact, we can talk afterward, but Stuart had a question about the API. Maybe something's changed here, but we're not getting that feed right now.
Okay, we'll take a look.
But the long and short of it here is, if a little old lady can bang out these kind of crazy-ass returns in a year, year and a half, anybody can do this. Anybody. You just have to really want to do it. You have to be able to put the plan together. You have to have some discipline, some patience, and just let your money work. And it's really not that difficult. So,
awesome.
If you want to learn more, come on by the site. We have a lot of fun here. We're trading, of course, the entire market, crypto as well as stocks. And we're actually coming up to a big celestial event here next week. So we might actually put on a new stock short position here in the next week or two in the stock market. But that's a whole other topic, right? Sorry. Didn't mean to go down that road. All right, I'll stop talking. Sorry. Brian, be quiet now.
Well, no, thanks a lot, Brian. We love doing these shows with you. So.
Yeah, I hope we have fun. I really hope you guys enjoy this.
Oh yeah, it's a nice reprieve from staring at code for 16 hours. So it's nice to be able to just sit back and chat a little bit and learn something. So.
Yeah. Well, I hope I help you guys learn a little bit.
Oh yeah. Cool. Well, I guess we can wrap it up at that point. Don't forget, I have Alex muted because his car is loud. But don't forget to check out youtube.com/blocktalk. He's got some great developer interviews there. He actually talked to the Steem guys recently. So.
Yeah, that was a good interview. You can go to blocktalk.info, and it usually I have it redirecting to something important. So yeah, blocktalk.info. I'm talking with Charlie Lee, the creator of Altcoin, so that'll be an interview coming up soon. And this Friday, I most likely will be talking with library.io. They were just added to Poloniex like an hour ago, and I got like 10x value on that. So yeah, cool coin, and check it out, and we'll probably have a fun time, good party, beers and bitcoins.
The best kind of party.
Oh yeah. So thanks for tuning in, everyone at home. This was really fun, and don't worry, I'm pulled over right now.
Uh-oh. All right. Oh, you're not getting pulled over. You are pulled over. I gotcha.
I'm doing safety, yeah. All right.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks for watching.
We'll catch you in 2 weeks, same time.
Yeah, have a good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.